Welcome to Matters With. I'm your host, PhillipBrian. Today we're here to discuss Trek Matters with you. Specifically, the 2015 novel A Child of Two Worlds by Greg Cox. The novel is set in 2255. I would have presumed early 2255, in that it's just a few months after the events of The Cage, setting it approximately 10 years before the events of the original series. Christopher Pike has been the captain of the Enterprise for 5 years.
My name is Christopher Pike, commander of the space vehicle Enterprise.
The Enterprise crew is falling ill due to Rigelian fever, and the only cure is that they can find is an experimental cure that's on a non-Federation planet. That non-Federation planet, Cypria 3, is in a missing persons tug-of-war with the Klingon Empire.
The Klingon Empire will never yield.
Pike and Number One must navigate this, while Spock, who at this time is a brilliant young lieutenant and science officer, he must find a way to reach a Cyprian woman who was raised as a Klingon, because they are both children of two worlds.
Logical.
Too logical.
The medical mystery, political navigation, and space battles are all well done. But this story is anchored in Lieutenant Spock breaking through the walls of anger, confusion, misunderstanding, and falsehoods that the young Klingon officer is coping with before the dire and complex situation leads to war. Greg Cox knows the character of Spock well, and in this novel we see glimmers of the legendary officer and ambassador that Spock will become. There's a subplot where Spock has to decide if he's going to accept a position aboard the Intrepid, the U.S.S. Intrepid, as its executive officer. Well, he makes the right choice here, and this thread is laden with Easter eggs, if you know. Or if you know, you know. That's not a term that feels comfortable coming out of my mouth. If you know, you know. So let's just go with laden with Easter eggs, if you're in the know.
Yes, Ambassador.
In the acknowledgments, the author thanks the editors. Well, I'm disappointed in the editing. There are several glaring mistakes that are far beyond anything that should come out of a major publishing house like Simon & Schuster's pocketbooks. It takes the story from an A to a B+. Greg Cox crafted an insightful tale of Spock during the Christopher Pike era on the Enterprise. He, the writer, and we, the audience, deserved better, Simon & Schuster. There were several copy errors that were they momentarily took me out of the story. Nevertheless, this still gets a B+, but it could have been an A if it hadn't been for the post-writing process that falls on the publisher to make sure there's no author can completely edit themselves 100%, because they're going to see what they wanted to be there. So that's why publishing houses have editors.
Logical.
To Greg Cox and his story, I say this. I believe DC Fontana would be proud. What is your favorite Spock-centered novel? And what is your favorite Trek novel set in the Christopher Pike era? We'll talk soon.